mean, the fact that it's a social phenomenon that Kyrie thinks the world is flat is hilarious to me.
We have video from space of the rotating spherical Earth.
It's true. The Earth is flat. There's three ways to manipulate the mind: what you read, what you see, and what you hear.
Like yourself, flat earthers believe that we are actually living in a dome. So can you explain to us how that works? And the ice, there's an ice wall, is that right?
Do you think the Earth is flat?
No, I don't think the Earth is flat. I think that's the dumbest shit I've heard in my life.
It immediately was a eureka moment. I mean, I literally went and woke my wife up and told her that the Earth was flat.
Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, gyrating? No, I'm pretty rock solid.
I blindly believed in whatever this world is that we live in for most of my life. And slowly, I started uncovering more and more lies that were told. Pharmaceuticals. Then later on, it was a food supply, GMO foods, corn syrup, chemtrails, vaccines, and Illuminati, Satanism in Hollywood and the music industry. Finally clicked on a Flat Earth video and I was like, whoa, these guys make some good points. Dude, I just spent like hours watching some videos and understanding what these guys are presenting and questioning the globe. And it took me about a month. Like I didn't know where I was. I would just look around and look at people kind of like, what is going on? It's like waking up from a dream. It really was. Like, am I sure? Like, am I sure what I've learned? Is that truth? So in about August 2017, I just felt so like muffled that I decided to record myself and just post a video. And then a few people watched it. I was like, wow, and then got a handful of subscribers. And I was like, oh, okay, and then I got some positive comments. I like to film myself as much as possible doing activism. I do speak my mind, I do swear a lot. I do have some crazy rants.
Have you ever seen the curve? No, but you believe it. You ever felt the motion? No, well, you believe it.
Come to our meetups, bro. All my friends think I'm nuts. You gotta come to our meetups. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook?
Curvature, lack of curvature. That killed the globe for me. I can see with my own eyes way too far. I can go to the top of Cyprus and see Tawasin, I can see Langley, I can see Bellingham, I can see, you know what I mean? And it's completely flat. The number 2 proof is water. Water finds its level. I mean, it's just basic, simple science, like the physics of water. It's completely flat. People are firing lasers across 7 miles of lake. So there's no curvature and the water is level. Gravity is keeping them sticking to the earth, and all these trillions of gallons of water sticking to a rock while it's spinning faster than the speed of sound. So that gets me to my 3rd proof, motion. We don't experience motion. We never really think about how fast we're spinning. It's actually 700 miles an hour where we stand right now. That's faster than sound. We don't feel it. Then you tie in the orbit of the Earth, which is 66,000 miles an hour. And then we're supposed to be chasing that sun. Then the Milky Way is flying at about 1.5 million miles an hour. And we're not supposed to feel them. It makes no sense. And then it came to NASA. There's never a 360-degree view from the space station or spacewalks. And you're like, well, that's kind of hokey. They're getting $50 million a day, $20 billion a year. Canadian Space Agency budget is $500 million a year. And what? They can't give us a 360-degree view. All their footage looks like cartoons. Pretty much all of it looks like CGI. And my final big proof is the sun and the moon. I feel this heat. They're telling us it's a big ball of fire, 400 whatever times the size of Earth. And then it travels through the coldest thing that we know, minus 500 degrees Celsius space. And then it hits the Earth's atmosphere and the radiation somehow turns into heat, and we're gonna feel that here. But these 5 basic things, science can't explain. And then when you look at what scientism, as we call it, it just winds up being like a bunch of fairy tale hocus pocus nonsense. You dog, does he think the world's spinning? Probably not, but we do. The dog's smarter than us. Is everybody okay being on camera for student documentary? Yes. I started a meetup because for a year I was like, I want to meet other flat earthers. And I was waiting. I heard there were meetups all over North America and the world, and I was like, where's this meetup? Where's Vancouver? Nobody was, I didn't see anything for a year, and we had 7 people show up to our first meetup. So over that time, I think we're up to 11 or 12 meetups, and we've probably had 200 different people come to these meetups.
I mentioned I believed the Earth was flat. He just wouldn't talk to me for like 2 months.
It's not good to lose family members, and I have hope that it'll come back.
Brother, who now lives in my house with me, he knows that I am a flat earther, but anytime I bring it up, he'll be triggered and think, stop saying that. Like, it's not right.
All my friends that I know in real life, I'd say about 90% of them have unfollowed me on the internet.
My family knows. They mock me, I guess. My dad, anything I say to my dad, he'll be like, oh yeah, the Earth's not flat. Shut up.
Around 1 in every 10 Americans say that they believe that the Earth is flat, or that they at least have their doubts that it's round. I'm going to test that. I'm going to test if the Earth is flat or not. And to do that, I actually need to go somewhere where it's super flat. So that's why I'm going to Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada, and I'm going to measure and calculate the size of the Earth using just my bicycle and 2 sticks. This is not a joke. So I did an undergrad in biology at Laurier University in Waterloo, and then I did a Master's of Science at the University of Guelph. Then I taught science for a couple of years, and now I just do YouTube full-time. I love YouTube specifically because it allows for me to reach a wide audience of any particular demographic, and I can do that just through my computer, which is pretty incredible. I think that the flat Earth belief is coming from a few different places. One is religion. I think that there's some texts that say some kind of that have connotations that maybe the Earth is flat, because they were written a long time ago. And I think that there's also another avenue to get to the flat Earth belief, which is that people believe in all sorts of conspiracies, and they don't mistrust the government, and they mistrust NASA. As soon as you start going down that rabbit hole, I think anything is possible. You might believe in anything, really. I'm going to bike down that road right there. And that road is the reason that I've come all of the way to Saskatchewan, because that road is perfectly straight for somewhere around 140 kilometers. And I've come to measure that distance on my bike. If the Earth was flat, we'd expect that both of the shadows on both of the sundials would be the same length. But if it's round, we would see that the shadows were different lengths. And I could actually use the different lengths and the distance that I bike between them to do some basic math and figure out the circumference of the Earth, and to prove that there is curvature. This is based on an assumption that the sun is very far away, but I've tested that in other videos. Okay, we'll take the measurements in 3, 2, 1, now. So my end result was that indeed there is curvature. The shadows were different lengths. That our shadows are 3.9 centimeters different. Mine is 3.9 centimeters smaller than his is in Regina, which means that the Earth is a sphere, and it means that I can calculate the size of the Earth. I calculated the Earth to be a sphere that was 33,000 kilometers in circumference, which is slightly smaller, but still pretty close on the big scale in the grand scheme of things.
I'm going to meet this science cult member here at the Institute of Technology. So this is a guy that rode his bike 90 miles to prove the Earth is a sphere. What an absolute joke.
I think that the way that we approach flat earthers is really broken. I see a lot of hate on the internet. I see a lot of people calling flat earthers names.
Hey, let's sit down. I invite him. Come, let's have a conversation as civil adults. Let's discuss what you believe in, what I believe in. Shake hands and walk away and agree to disagree.
So I think we need to approach them with compassion and try to open a real dialogue. And hopefully we can change some minds and do some proper science education.
So basically for us, it's like the globe is absurd, And when we look at the claims of the spinning globe, it just, for me, it just fell apart. So that's why as a science guy, I mean, I'm here to be like, there's a lot of holes in the, the heliocentric theory, so I'm going to question you and push you on your belief systems on that, because we can't refute that we experience the Earth as flat and stationary.
But if you dig deep into the science, and there's millions of scientific papers that rely on the principles that we've discovered in the last thousands of years, it has to be this way, or all of science is wrong.
I talk with a lot of you guys. You're like, you're throwing away hundreds of years of scientific research and you're holding science back. But that's an appeal to authority. That's an appeal to science. So let's get rid of the appeal to science. Let's empower ourselves as individuals to start again, because everybody here is can be a scientist. Nothing about the heliocentric system is those things in objective reality.
Because I do totally agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, science, is a process, and it is this thing that we shouldn't appeal to authority. I agree to that. To a certain extent, we should be able to understand what's happening. But also, like, if that's the case, if you're not going to appeal to authority ever, then we need to be doing these experiments.
A real scientist is skeptical.
Right.
I find science people are not skeptical at all, because they won't question what they're told. You've blindly accepted that, and you're gonna, this is a phrase I hear all the time from all these science guys, I'm gonna ride on the coattails of the great minds before me and move forward. Do you think I wanted to wake up and be a flat earth? We want to wake up and be ridiculed and name called and all of this stuff, right? Yeah. Like, nobody asked for this. I don't need to accept that I'm spinning faster than sound, flying 50 times faster than a bullet, and then chasing the sun at 2 million miles an hour. And I don't even feel it in the slightest. So we got to spin, we got to wobble, we got an orbit, then we're chasing the sun, and then the whole solar system's flying through the Milky Way.
To me, it's like we fucked up in the education system. Right?
Now, I got a lot of people in my life that know I'm a smart guy saying, oh, the education went wrong, we went wrong, well, let's feel sorry for these guys.
Every day I'm doing something wrong.
I love science.
It's wonderful, and I'm glad to hear that.
But I like real science.
I've gone through and done so many of these experiments, and I've never had a case where I do an experiment and I find this weird result that contradicts the scientific, corpus. It's like, and like I thought that I would think that at some point, if all science is, or a huge amount of science is fake, I thought I would have come across one of those just once. I think we can't possibly experiment and do everything from scratch unless I am shown some sort of miraculous evidence that is, extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. Unless I'm shown that, I'm going to keep believing in the scientific consensus on this. There's two options here, right? One is that you're wrong and the world is actually a sphere. Or the other is that everyone is lying to you and you're right. Right?
Ah, there's middle ground.
Where's the middle ground? I don't see the middle ground.
Because not everybody is lying.
And if it was flat, that would be so much easier to prove.
Yeah.
Why hasn't? But it hasn't been proven, because like you
what
could.
Do you mean
it
hasn't been proven?
Like, why doesn't someone just go to the edge? You could just go to the edge.
Antarctic Treaty. We don't have the means. You know how much you'd need? Somebody did an estimate. You'd need, I think, $2 million. So a year ago, it affected me differently. It kind of hurt. I was like, really, I'm not dumb. I did get an education. I did go to school. I went to school for business. I'm a smart, So we have all these kind of, I had all of these kind of feelings, like it kind of hurt. Now I'm at the point where I can laugh at them. What do I think of them? It depends on how I'm feeling that day. If I've had a bad day, I'm like, what a fucking idiot. If I'm having a good day, I'm happy, I'll be like, oh my God, man, like, come on, like I'm thinking in my head. Wake up, do some research. Don't be a mindless cuck.
I mean, it's an extraordinary claim that would take extraordinary evidence. But if someone showed me evidence, like, it would have to contradict all of modern science. But if they showed me proper evidence that was like, here's the curvature, or sorry, here's the flat edge of the Earth, or here is proof that gravity doesn't exist. If there was some sort of proof that was an experiment, especially if it was something that I could do,
then maybe I would listen. I mean, it just has to be evidence.
A couple of years ago, I might have said, yeah, if I go up into space, but I know space doesn't exist, so for me to answer, it's kind of facetious.
Space doesn't exist?
Outer space does not exist.
So then the sun doesn't exist?
Sun is local over us.
I won't get into that because...
No. It took me a while. I was a big Star Trek fan.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
I
ahead.
became a flat earther, and it took me months to realize that outer space doesn't exist. What would it take? You know, I could say that, but I'd be a little facetious because I know rocket ships aren't real. They take off and they dump into the ocean. At this point, it is impossible. I can never believe I live on a ball.
And as I went down the rabbit hole,
Kind of like a rabbit hole?
YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it was YouTube.
Okay.
Go on to Google and I search proof the Earth is a globe.
Went and looked up Flat Earth.
On the internet?
Yeah, on the internet.
Online videos. YouTube's a big part of it.
On YouTube? I don't remember, like I never intentionally went looking. It just come up and I clicked it.
Finally, June, I clicked on a Flat Earth video and I was like, wow, these guys make some good points. Dude, I just spent like hours and hours watching some videos and understanding what these guys are presenting and questioning the globe.
I don't remember. He wasn't one in the box. He was talking.